Hello there folks, I'm Dan Brown from asortofinterestinglife.com. You're joining me down here at the Aston Locks on the Montgomery Canal, and I've just been out here having a wander and having a walk around because Tilly is nowhere near here because this whole section of canal between the two locks has sprung a leak. You might be able to tell in the background that lock's closed, lock up there's closed, and the water level is dropped an unbelievable amount. So I was so shocked and surprised by how visibly drained it was that I thought it's time to get the camera out, take a few video clips, and here's just a general look. It's quite interesting, particularly being able to see some of the actual lock workings with the dropped water level up at these top gates here. Right then, let's dive in. Not literally, there's not much water in there. Even at the best of times I wouldn't dive in the canal. Right then, as we have a quick look up the canal towards Queen's Head and the little pub at the side of the canal up there, and then turn around, you will suddenly see, hang on a minute, as soon as we look at the locks, something's not quite right. There's notices stuck all over it, and well, as we turn around now, you'll see the actual lock mechanism's got a physical lock on the lock, if that makes sense. And of course, there's a great big sign saying, "Beware, canal closed ahead." Also, to the right of the screen, Sarah's shoes. Anyway, with that cameo appearance out of the way, you can see that looking across from the opposite bank, we have got an awful lot of exposed rusty metal there, and looking again across at the actual side, you can see that the water should be coming up to just below where that white beam going acrossways is, but there's definitely not as much water as there should be. And you can see as well from the actual state of the water that's floating around here that's gathered up just how grimy and murky and very unpleasant it is, because of course, because there's no boats going through, they're not keeping the proper flow of water coming and churning up and disturbing the water. Instead, it's all getting backed up there. And again, looking across the other side of the lock mechanism, you can see you've got a lot of water that's not there, or you can't see the water that's there. And particularly when you see just how much soil we've got exposed here, this is why you never really want to drift too close to the opposite bank of the towpath when you're boating, because you never know if you're going to have a situation like that. And equally, looking down straight into the water, because there's no boats going through, they're not churning up all the mud, so the water where it hasn't got awful scum floating on the top is perfectly see-through, and that only serves to really make it look shallower, I suppose. And again, seeing the muddy shallow banks on the far side. Now this is down on the towpath, not quite how it normally looks. As you can see, this some people may recognise this sort of setup from building sites where they put beams like this down so that it doesn't churn up the mud for anything that's just going to be a normal field or a pathway afterwards when they're taking heavy machinery up and down. And really, I suppose, just as we have a look at some of the other sites of, well, just the unbelievable water droppage and all the growth and that hanging over and starting to fall into the canal and so on, and, well, the lily pads showing more than ever how it's turning into a pond, it's an interesting thing, really, that in that ironic way, me and Sarah, before we came out and had a wander around here, had literally just recorded the voiceover on the Dan and Sarah Adventures video on a stretch of canal that's genuinely abandoned further up on the Montgomery Canal. So stay tuned for that in the future. But in that typical way, I mean, well, I didn't expect this to be quite looking in this state. You can see here, this is meant to be all covered in water, and you're not meant to see any of this. Again, on the lock gate there, you can see where the water level's meant to come up to. But what I thought was really interesting, I wanted to throw this clip in, is as we zoom into that gap there, that is the actual paddle that you lift up when you wind the handle up to let the water go into the lock. And I thought I'd just keep it on a freeze frame for a moment, just so you can see properly the little beam coming down to the paddle. And I suppose on that note, I'll say I still love the Montgomery Canal. Oh, I absolutely love it, because you can walk about 2 foot from that lock, well, maybe 10 foot, and have this sort of sight and adventure and places to wander off into. Anyway, until the next time, thanks for watching. Check out me books for the Kindle, search Amazon for The Narrowboat Lad, find links to the books and Facebook and goodness knows what else, loads of boaty stuff all over the internet in the description below. And of course, until the next time, keep it boat worthy, have a fantastic day, and farewell.